I found the text message at 2:47 a.m. on a Tuesday. Couldn't sleep, reached for my phone to check work emails, and there it was, a notification previewing on Emily's screen. She'd left it charging on the nightstand, face up, like always. The preview said enough. "Can't wait to feel you again tomorrow. That thing you did with your tongue." My stomach dropped 6 floors. The sender, Derek Hutchins, our neighbor, the guy who borrowed my hedge trimmer last month and never returned it, the guy whose hand lingered too long on Emily's shoulder at the block party, the guy I'd dismissed as harmless. I sat there in the dark, listening to Emily breathe beside me, that soft whistling sound through her nose that used to be endearing. Now, it felt like nails on glass. 7 years of marriage, 7 years of thinking we were solid, that we'd figured it out, that we were the couple who'd make it. I didn't wake her, didn't scream, didn't throw the phone against the wall like every fiber in my body demanded. Instead, I took a photo of her screen with my phone, careful not to let the flash go off. Evidence. Then I went downstairs and sat in the dark kitchen until sunrise, planning. My hands shook as I made coffee at 5:30. The kitchen was still dark, just the under-cabinet lights casting shadows across the granite countertops we'd picked out together 3 years ago. Everything in this house was together. Together, we'd chosen the paint colors. Together, we'd planted the garden. Together, we'd built a life that I thought was real. I pulled up the photo on my phone and read the message again and again, looking for some other interpretation, some innocent explanation. Maybe Derek was talking to someone else. Maybe Emily's phone had been hacked. Maybe I was still asleep and this was a nightmare. But I knew better. I'd seen the signs and ignored them. The way she'd started going to the gym more often, the new lingerie that never made an appearance in our bedroom, the sudden interest in property showings that ran late into the evening. I'd told myself I was being paranoid, that marriage required trust. Turned out paranoia was just pattern recognition. By the time Emily came down at 7, showered and dressed in her real estate blazer, I'd made coffee and eggs like nothing had changed. I'd also made a decision. I wasn't going to confront her. Not yet. I was going to be smart about this. "You're up early," she said, kissing my cheek. Her perfume, the expensive one I'd bought her for Christmas, made me want to vomit. "Couldn't sleep," I said. True enough. "Big day?" She poured coffee, added her usual cream and sugar. Something like that. She didn't notice the edge in my voice, or didn't care. She was already scrolling through her phone, probably texting him, probably deleting evidence. Too late for that, Emily. "I've got showings all morning," she said, grabbing her keys. 3 houses in Riverside. Probably won't be back until after lunch. "Sounds busy," I said. She kissed me again, longer this time, like she was trying to convince herself of something. "Love you. Love you too." The lie tasted like ash in my mouth. I called in sick to work. First time in 3 years. My boss at Henderson & Associates Accounting didn't question it. I'd built up enough goodwill for one personal day. I needed to think, to verify, to make absolutely certain before I did anything stupid. Derek Hutchins lived 4 houses down with his wife, Rachel. She was a kindergarten teacher. Sweet woman, always baking cookies for the neighborhood kids. They'd moved in 2 years ago. Seemed like the perfect couple. Funny how that works. I parked my car 3 blocks away on Maple Street and walked back, wearing sunglasses and a baseball cap like some discount private detective. Felt ridiculous, but necessary. Derek's red pickup truck sat in his driveway. He worked from home, some kind of freelance graphic design thing. Flexible schedule, perfect for afternoon affairs. At 10:15 a.m., Emily's silver BMW pulled up to his house. She'd told me this morning she had property showings all day. 3 houses in Riverside, she'd said. Specific addresses. I'd written them down, watched her lie to my face with those green eyes that once made me believe in soulmates. She knocked. Derek opened the door in gym shorts and nothing else. They didn't even wait until the door closed. Through his front window, I watched him pull her inside, his hands already under her blazer. I took photos. Lots of them. Time-stamped. My phone's camera captured everything. The kiss, his hands on her, the way she pressed against him like she couldn't get close enough. I felt like a voyeur watching my own life disintegrate through a telephoto lens. Then I walked back to my car and drove to Riverside, to those addresses Emily had mentioned. 4532. Riverside Drive. Occupied, no for sale sign. Elderly couple watering their garden. 4718. Riverside Drive. Occupied, no for sale sign. Kids playing basketball in the driveway. 5001. Riverside Drive. Vacant lot. She hadn't even bothered with a good cover story. That's what hurt most, I think. The laziness of it. Like I wasn't worth a convincing lie. I sat in my car outside that vacant lot for 20 minutes, trying to process everything. 7 years. We'd been married for 7 years, together for 9. I'd proposed on a beach in California, spent 2 months' salary on the ring. She'd cried and said yes, and we'd made love on the hotel balcony overlooking the ocean. When had it gone wrong? Or had it always been wrong, and I'd just been too stupid to see it? My phone buzzed. Text from Emily. Showing going long, might grab lunch with a client, home by 3. I texted back, no problem, see you then. She was probably still at Derek's house, probably in his bed, probably doing things to him that she hadn't done with me in months. I drove home, pulled into our garage, and sat there in the darkness with the engine off. Our garage. Our house. Our life. Except none of it was ours anymore. It was just mine, and I'd been living in a lie. James Patterson, no relation to the author, had been my roommate in college. We'd lost touch after graduation, but I knew he'd become a divorce attorney, one of the good ones. His face still popped up occasionally on my Facebook feed, usually promotional posts about his firm. I called him from my car. Jake Morrison, holy shit, he said when he answered. How long's it been? 12 years. I need your help. The tone shift was immediate, professional, concerned. What's going on? My wife's having an affair. I have proof. I want to know my options. Jesus, Jake. I'm sorry. Come to my office, 2 o'clock. Don't tell her you're coming. Don't tell anyone. Why not? Because word travels fast, and you want the element of surprise. Trust me. Just come in. James's office was in downtown Portland, all glass and modern furniture. 23rd floor, view of the river. He'd done well for himself. We shook hands, and he gestured to a leather chair across from his massive desk. Show me what you've got, he said. I showed him everything. The text messages I'd photographed from Emily's phone. The pictures from this morning, time-stamped, GPS-tagged, crystal clear. He studied them carefully, making notes on a legal pad. How long do you think it's been going on? He asked. No idea. Could be months. Could be a year. Could be longer. Any prenup? No. We got married young. Didn't think we needed one. James leaned back in his chair. Okay, here's the situation. Oregon's a no-fault divorce state, which means the affair doesn't technically matter for the divorce itself, but it matters for everything else. Custody if you had kids. We don't. Good. That simplifies things. Property division, though. This helps. It shows bad faith. A judge might look favorably on you when splitting assets, especially if you can prove she spent marital funds on the affair. The house is in both names, I said. We have about 80 grand in savings. She makes good money in real estate. I make decent money in accounting. We're pretty much equal earners. Any chance she'll try to claim you were abusive or something? Try to paint herself as the victim? The question hit me hard. I don't know. Maybe. She's good at manipulating people. That's literally her job. She sells houses by making people believe whatever narrative she's spinning. James nodded slowly. Then we need to be smart. Document everything. Every interaction from now on. Get a voice recording app on your phone. Oregon's a one-party consent state, which means you can record conversations you're part of without telling her. Do it. And whatever you do, don't do anything stupid. Define stupid. Don't confront the guy. Don't trash his property. Don't post about this on social media. Don't give her ammunition to paint you as unhinged. You want to come out of this clean, you need to be the reasonable one. I wanted to argue. Wanted to say that reasonable men don't sit back while their wives screw the neighbor. But James was right. I needed to think long term. How long does divorce take? I asked. Minimum 90 days in Oregon. Could be longer if she contests it. My advice? Gather more evidence. Build an airtight case. Then we hit her with papers and take her for everything we can legally get. And what about the neighbor? Derek? What about him? Does he face any consequences? James shrugged. Morally? Sure. Legally? Not really. Alienation of affection laws don't exist in Oregon. You can't sue him. Best you can do is tell his wife, let her divorce him too. That's it? That's it. I know it's not satisfying. But, Jake, the legal system isn't about revenge. It's about fair division of assets and moving forward. If you want revenge, you're on your own, and I'd advise against it. We shook hands. I felt better having a plan, having someone in my corner who understood the system. But as I drove home, something dark started growing in my chest. James's way was the legal way, the smart way, but it wasn't the only way, and it wasn't satisfying. Not nearly satisfying enough. Emily came home at 6, carrying Chinese takeout and wearing her biggest smile. Rough day, she said, kicking off her heels. 3 showings and nothing clicked. People are so picky right now. This market is insane. I helped her set out the containers on the dining room table. Kung Pao chicken, fried rice, spring rolls, our usual Tuesday order from Golden Dragon. How was your day? She asked, settling into her chair. Fine. Finished the Riverside account. She didn't even flinch at the word Riverside. Didn't miss a beat. Just nodded and reached for the soy sauce. We ate. We talked about nothing. Her mother's upcoming birthday, the weird noise the refrigerator was making, whether we should refinish the deck this summer, normal couple talk, the kind of mundane conversation that makes a marriage work. Except ours wasn't working. It was rotting from the inside, and only I could smell it. I'm thinking about booking that cabin in Bend for our anniversary, Emily said. The one we stayed at 3 years ago. What do you think? Our anniversary was in 6 weeks. She was planning ahead, making future plans with me while screwing Derek Hutchins in the afternoon. The cognitive dissonance was staggering. Sure, I said. Sounds great. She smiled, reached across the table to squeeze my hand. Her wedding ring caught the light. White gold, half-carat diamond. I'd saved for months to buy it, working overtime at the firm to afford something nice. I love you, Jake, she said. I love you too. The lie tasted like ash, but I delivered it perfectly. I'd had practice, now. One day of living with this knowledge, and I was already becoming someone else. After dinner, we watched TV. Some cooking competition show Emily liked. She curled up against me on the couch like always, and I put my arm around her like always, and we existed in this simulation of marriage like everything was fine. You seem distant tonight, she said during a commercial break. Just tired, Work stuff. Want to talk about it? No, I'm good. She kissed my cheek. Okay, but I'm here if you need me. The irony almost made me laugh. She was here in this house, in this marriage, in this moment. But she was also somewhere else entirely. In Derek's bed, in Derek's arms, in a whole separate life I'd known nothing about. That night, in bed, she reached for me. I couldn't do it. Made an excuse about being exhausted, about having a headache. She seemed disappointed, but didn't push it. I lay there in the dark, listening to her fall asleep, and planned my next moves. I spent the next week documenting everything. I installed a GPS tracker on Emily's car, legally questionable, but I didn't care. Bought it on Amazon for $79, magnetic mounting, real-time tracking via smartphone app. Attached it under her rear bumper at 3 a.m. while she slept. I checked our bank statements going back 6 months, our joint checking, our joint savings, both our credit cards. Printed everything out, highlighted suspicious transactions. I followed her 3 more times over the next 5 days, watching her visit Derek's house while Rachel was at work. Tuesday afternoon, Thursday morning, Friday at lunch. Each time, she texted me with lies about where she was, property showings, client meetings, lunch with her mother. The bank statements told an interesting story. Emily had been withdrawing cash. Not huge amounts. 200 here, 300 there. But it added up. Over 6 months, nearly $5,000 in cash withdrawals with no clear explanation. When I'd asked her about it months ago, she'd said it was for household expenses, tipping, contractors, stuff like that. Now I knew better. Cash doesn't leave a paper trail. Cash buys hotel rooms and dinners and gifts for lovers. I checked her credit cards. Hotel rooms in Portland, the Heathman, the Nines, once even the fancy place on the waterfront. Restaurants I'd never been to. A charge at Victoria's Secret for $300. Lingerie I'd never seen her wear. Another charge at a men's store downtown. Probably a gift for Derek. She'd been spending our money on him, on them, building a whole parallel relationship funded by our joint accounts. I documented everything in a spreadsheet. Dates, times, amounts, locations. The accountant in me found it almost therapeutic, turning betrayal into data points. Each cell in the spreadsheet was another piece of evidence, another nail in the coffin of our marriage. Thursday evening, I set up a voice recording app on my phone like James had suggested. Tested it, made sure it worked. One-party consent state. Everything she said to me from now on would be documented. Friday night, Emily announced she was going to a real estate conference in Seattle. Leaving Saturday morning, back Sunday evening. Do you mind? She asked, already packing her bag. It's good networking. Plus, there's a seminar on luxury property marketing I really want to attend. Could help me close some of those high-end listings. Of course not, I said. You should go. She kissed me, long and deep, like she meant it. Like she wasn't about to spend the weekend in a hotel room with our neighbor, because I'd already checked. Derek had told his wife, Rachel, he was visiting his brother in Seattle. Same weekend, same city, coordinated lies. I watched Emily pack. She took the new lingerie from Victoria's Secret, the expensive perfume I'd bought her, her best dresses. This wasn't a conference. This was a romantic getaway. Text me when you get there, I said. I will. Love you. Love you too. After she left Saturday morning, I sat in our bedroom and looked at her side of the closet. Half empty now, clothes strewn around from her hurried packing. On her nightstand sat a framed photo of us from our wedding day. We looked so young, so happy, so stupid. I called James. I've got more evidence, I said. A lot more. Good. Bring it by Monday. We'll start drafting papers. How much can we get? Depends on the judge, but with what you're building, I'd say 60-40 split in your favor is realistic. Maybe better. The cash withdrawals alone show intent to deceive. The expenditures on the affair show misuse of marital funds. You're building a strong case. 60-40. I'd get more of the house, more of the savings, a financial win, cold comfort for a destroyed marriage, but something. Except the dark thing in my chest kept growing. Money wasn't enough. I wanted more. I wanted them to hurt the way I was hurting. James, I said, what if I told Derek's wife? That's your prerogative. It's not illegal, but it might complicate things. Emily will know you know. You'll lose the element of surprise. But Rachel deserves to know, doesn't she? James was quiet for a moment. Yes, she does. But Jake, be honest with me. Do you want to tell her because she deserves to know? Or because you want Derek to suffer? Both. Then wait. Wait until we file papers, then tell her. That way, Emily can't get ahead of the narrative, can't start hiding assets or building a defense. We hit them both at once. Divorce papers and exposure. Maximum impact. Maximum impact. I like the sound of that. Saturday stretched out, empty and strange. I'd taken the whole weekend off, told Emily I might go fishing with some work friends. Another lie in a marriage built on lies. Instead, I sat in my home office and built my case. I organized every photo, every bank statement, every text message screenshot, created a timeline, mapped out the affair like it was a project plan at work. The GPS tracker showed Emily's car at the Four Seasons in Seattle. Derek's pickup was probably in the parking garage. They were up there together, having champagne and room service, while I sat here, cataloging their betrayal. I opened a beer, then another. By evening, I'd gone through half a six-pack and was feeling the edges of something dangerous. I walked down the street to Derek's house. The lights were off. Rachel's car was gone. She'd mentioned last week she was visiting her sister in Eugene this weekend. Convenient timing. Everyone gone, everyone busy, everyone living their separate lives while I was the only one who saw the whole picture. I stood on Derek's front lawn and looked at his house. A nice house. Bigger than ours. Better view. He had a pretty good job, this graphic designer who worked from home and slept with other men's wives after dinner. I could burn it down. The thought came unbidden, but clear. I could burn it down and no one would know. I had time, opportunity, means. Rachel was gone. Derek was gone. Their house insurance would pay for it. They'd rebuild. But I'd know. And knowing I'd crossed that line would change me forever. I walked home, finished the six-pack, and fell asleep on the couch. Sunday morning, I woke with a headache and a clarity I hadn't felt in days. I wasn't going to burn down houses or slash tires or do any of the stupid violent things that would land me in jail. I was going to destroy them legally, systematically, using the tools available to me, the legal system, social consequences, professional repercussions. I was going to make them face what they'd done in a way that was permanent and public, and I was going to do it smart. Emily texted me Sunday afternoon, "Conference is amazing, learning so much, miss you?" I texted back, "Miss you too. See you tonight." She sent a photo, her at what looked like a seminar, other people in the background, probably staged, probably taken Friday before she and Derek checked into their hotel. She came home Sunday evening, full of stories about the conference. The seminar she'd attended, the speakers she'd heard, the business cards she'd collected. She showed me photos on her phone. Convention center, hotel lobby, her with some other real estate agents. Nothing that proved where she'd actually been, but enough to sell the lie. She was good at this. Probably had been lying for months, maybe longer, and I'd never noticed. Or maybe I had noticed and chosen not to see. "I missed you," she said, that night in bed, curling against me. I held her, feeling nothing. It was like hugging a stranger wearing Emily's skin. Missed you too, I said. Another lie. I'd spent the weekend planning her destruction. Monday morning, I went to James's office with my evidence folders. 3 folders, color-coded, organized by category: communications, financial records, surveillance. He spent an hour reviewing everything. When he finished, he looked up at me with something like pity in his eyes. "This is solid, Jake. More than solid. We can bury her with this. So we file? I'd give it 1 more week. See if she makes any large financial moves. Sometimes cheaters start hiding assets when they sense things going south. If she transfers money or opens new accounts, we want to catch it. 1 more week of pretending. 1 more week of sleeping beside her, eating meals with her, playing the devoted husband while she played me for a fool." "I can do that," I said. "Jake." James leaned forward. "I need to ask, are you okay? Really okay? Because this kind of betrayal, it messes with people, makes them do things they regret." "I'm fine." "You don't look fine. You look like you're planning something." "I'm planning a divorce. That's what you're helping me do." He studied me for a long moment. "Just remember what I said. Don't do anything stupid. Don't give her ammunition. You're winning this the right way. Through the system. Above board. Legal." I nodded, shook his hand, drove home. But James was wrong about one thing. I wasn't winning. Not yet. Divorce papers and a favorable settlement weren't enough. They'd walk away, start over, maybe even end up together officially once the dust settled. They'd face some embarrassment, sure, some awkward moments at the grocery store, but nothing proportional to what they'd done. That night, I started planning something else. Something James definitely wouldn't approve of. I created a fake Facebook account. Basic profile, generic photo stolen from a stock image site, minimal information. Then I joined every Portland area community group I could find. Neighborhood associations, local business groups, parent forums, everything. I spent 2 hours just reading posts, getting a feel for how people communicated, what topics generated engagement. Then I started drafting my post, writing it, deleting it, rewriting it, getting the tone right. Sympathetic but not whiny, specific but not identifying, compelling enough to generate discussion. By midnight, I had it perfect. Derek Hutchins had a portfolio website for his graphic design work. It wasn't hard to find. He'd been handing out business cards at neighborhood events for months, always networking, always hustling for new clients. His site showed off his projects, restaurant logos, brewery branding, boutique hotel design packages, listed his clients with glowing testimonials, included a blog where he occasionally posted about his creative process, his inspirations, his philosophy on design. More importantly, it had a contact form and client testimonials with first names and business names. I created a fake email address using a burner account, john.davidson, restaurantsI@gmail.com. Then I crafted a message as a potential client, a restaurant owner looking for a complete rebrand. Big project. Good money. Could we meet to discuss? Derek responded within 2 hours, professional, eager, suggesting we meet for coffee. Thursday afternoon at a place called Barista downtown. Perfect. I spent Tuesday and Wednesday studying Derek's online presence, his Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. He posted regularly, photos of his design work, hiking trips with Rachel, the occasional political opinion. Typical millennial earnestness, all carefully curated authenticity. His client list included some notable local businesses, a brewery called Cascade Hops, 2 restaurants, Riverside Bistro and the Pearl Kitchen, a boutique hotel called the Morrison. He'd built a decent reputation over 5 years. People trusted him with their brands. That was about to change. Thursday afternoon, I watched from my car as Derek left his house and drove to Barista. He sat at a corner table, laptop open, wearing a button-down shirt and designer glasses, looking every bit the creative professional, waiting for his fake client who would never arrive. While he sat there checking his watch and sipping his overpriced latte, I went to his house. I'd made a copy of the hedge trimmer key months ago, back when he'd first borrowed it. Small keychain tool, easy to duplicate at the hardware store. I'd done it thinking maybe I'd need to retrieve my trimmer myself someday if he never returned it. Funny how things work out. His backyard was empty. Rachel at work teaching kindergarten, Derek at the coffee shop. I let myself in through the back gate, moved quietly across his lawn to his back window, not breaking and entering. I had no intention of going inside. Just needed to see his home office, which faced the backyard through a large window. Through the window, I could see his desk setup. 2 large monitors, graphics tablet, ergonomic chair, filing cabinet. Professional setup. On the wall behind his desk, a large calendar with handwritten appointments and end. I took photos, lots of them, including several entries that matched Emily's supposed showing schedule. E2 p.m. on a Tuesday 2 weeks ago, E-lunch on a Thursday, E-morning on a Friday, more evidence, more ammunition. But I wasn't doing this for James's court case anymore. I was doing this for something else entirely. I photographed his client list, visible on a corkboard beside his desk. Every business name, every contact. Then I left the way I'd come, locked the gate behind me, and drove home. That evening, I started making calls. I created a fake account on Portland's most popular community Facebook group, Portland Life, Neighborhood News and Discussion. 30,000 members, mostly local residents, sharing recommendations and complaints. My profile was simple. Generic name, Michael Thompson. Profile photo from a stock image site showing a middle-aged white guy smiling at the camera. Lived in Portland 5 years, worked in tech, married. Filled out just enough information to seem real without being traceable. Then I carefully crafted my post. Need advice from this community. Recently discovered my wife is having an affair with our neighbor. I have proof. Photos, text messages, financial records showing she spent thousands of our money on hotels and gifts for him. Both are still married to other people. Both have been lying to their spouses for months. I want to divorce my wife, but I'm torn about whether to tell the other spouse. She seems like a nice person and deserves to know, right? But I also don't want to cause unnecessary pain by destroying her marriage too. What would you do? Has anyone been in this situation? I posted it at 8 p.m. on Thursday. By 10 p.m., it had 300 comments. The comments ranged from "tell her immediately" to "mind your own business" to people sharing their own infidelity stories. It was like opening a pressure valve on the city's collective relationship trauma. People were hungry to discuss this, to share their opinions, to feel involved in someone else's drama. Emily scrolled through Facebook while we watched TV that night. I saw her stop on the post, read it, her finger hovering over the screen. Then she kept scrolling. No reaction. It didn't occur to her it might be about her. Why would it? She thought she was smarter than that. Thought she'd covered her tracks. By Friday morning, the post had 2,000 comments and had been shared 50 times. Portland's a small big city. Everyone knows someone who knows someone. The discussion had taken on a life of its own. People debating the ethics of disclosure, sharing their own stories, offering advice. I let it sit there, gathering momentum, becoming the neighborhood's favorite drama. Then Friday evening, I updated the post. Update, thank you all for the advice. I've decided to tell the other spouse. She deserves the truth. Some details in case anyone knows them and can help me figure out the best way to handle this. The affair partner is a graphic designer in the Portland area who specializes in restaurant and hospitality branding, works from home. His wife is a teacher. They seem like a perfect couple on social media, but he's been using their house for afternoon hookups while she's at work. My wife is a real estate agent. She's been using work as an excuse to see him. Fake property showings, fake client meetings, even a fake conference last weekend. I have all the evidence I need for my divorce, but I'm struggling with how to tell his wife. Do I just show up at her door? Send an anonymous message? What's the kindest way to deliver this kind of news? The comments exploded. People started speculating, throwing out names. Someone mentioned Derek Hutchins, remembered seeing him at a neighborhood event, knew he was a designer. Someone else said they knew a real estate agent who fit the description but didn't want to say names publicly. The guessing game began. I didn't confirm anything, didn't need to. The seeds were planted. People were connecting dots. Within 24 hours, at least a dozen people in Portland would think they knew exactly who I was talking about. Saturday morning, Rachel Hutchins knocked on our door. Emily answered. I stood in the hallway, listening, recording everything on my phone in my pocket. Hi, Rachel, Emily said, her voice bright and fake. What's up? Have you seen that Facebook post? Rachel asked. Her voice was tight, strained. The one about the affair? Yeah, so crazy, right? People are so messy. Derek thinks it might be about us. Silence. I could picture Emily's face, trying to calculate the right response, wondering how much Rachel knew, how much she should admit. Why would he think that? Emily finally said. Because he feels guilty. Rachel's voice cracked. He said he needs to tell me something. He's inside right now, packing a bag. Won't talk to me. Won't explain. I can't. Emily, is he having an affair? Another pause. Longer this time. Then Emily said, I don't know, Rachel. I'm sorry. That must be so hard. The distance in her voice, the lack of real comfort. She was protecting herself, already calculating her own exposure, not offering to help, not inviting Rachel in, not providing any support to a woman she'd known for 2 years. I'm going to find out who posted it, Rachel said. Her voice was stronger now, anger replacing the hurt. I'm going to make them regret putting our business out there for everyone to see. Rachel, I don't think someone knows something. Someone in this neighborhood knows what's going on and decided to post about it instead of talking to me directly. That's cowardly. That's cruel. After she left, Emily came back inside. Her face was pale, her hands shaking. That was intense, she said. Yeah, I agreed. Poor Rachel. Emily looked at me, really looked at me, and for the first time, I saw a flicker of suspicion in her eyes. Jake, you didn't what? Nothing, never mind. But the seed of doubt was planted. She spent the rest of the day on her phone, texting frantically, probably with Derek, trying to coordinate their stories, trying to figure out who knew what and how much damage control they needed to do. I went about my day normally, mowed the lawn, washed my car, waved to neighbors, acted like everything was fine. By Sunday, 3 more people in the neighborhood had figured out the Facebook post was about Derek and Emily. Not because I told them. I never confirmed a single name. But because Rachel had confronted Derek, and Derek had apparently confessed everything to her in some desperate attempt to control the narrative. Small neighborhoods are like that. Secrets don't keep. Tell one person and you've told everyone. Sunday afternoon, I saw Rachel loading suitcases into her car. She looked devastated, moving mechanically, like a robot going through programmed motions. I wanted to go talk to her to apologize for the method even though I didn't regret the outcome. But I stayed inside and watched through the window. Emily watched too, standing at our bedroom window, phone in her hand, probably texting Derek. Probably realizing that everything was about to fall apart. Jake, she said without turning around. We need to talk. About what? About us, about everything. Okay, I said. Let's talk. But before she could say anything, my phone rang. James. I need to take this, I told Emily. It's work. I went into my home office and closed the door. It's done, James said. Papers are ready. We can file Monday morning. Do it, I said. You're sure? Once we file, there's no going back. I'm sure. Okay. Come by the office at 9. We'll file together. Monday morning. 24 hours away. Emily had no idea what was coming. I didn't sleep Sunday night. Just lay there beside Emily, listening to her breathe, counting down the hours until I could finally stop pretending. At 7 Monday morning, I got up and got dressed. Suit and tie, like I was going to an important meeting, which I was. You're dressed up, Emily said, coming into the bedroom wrapped in her bathrobe. Big presentation at work, I lied. One more lie. The last one. Good luck, she said, kissing my cheek. I drove to James's office. He was waiting with the papers, a stack of documents an inch thick. Petition for dissolution of marriage, property division agreements, financial disclosures. Last chance to back out, James said. File them. We went to the courthouse together, stood in line at the clerk's office, submitted the papers, paid the filing fee. Just like that, 7 years of marriage became a legal proceeding. She'll be served today, James said. Professional process server will deliver them to her workplace. Should be around noon. Good. Jake, are you ready for what comes next? She's going to be angry, possibly vindictive. Let her be angry. I'm done caring about her feelings. I went to work, sat at my desk, pretended to review spreadsheets while watching the clock. At 11:47 a.m., my phone buzzed. Emily, what did you do? Me. What I should have done 2 weeks ago. Emily, we need to talk, now. Me. Talk to your lawyer. I'm done talking to you. She called. I didn't answer. She called again. Again. 12 times in 20 minutes. I turned off my phone. At 3 o'clock, I went home. Emily's car was in the driveway. I'd expected that. What I hadn't expected was Derek's red pickup parked on the street. I walked in to find them both in my living room. Emily had been crying, mascara streaked down her face. Derek looked shell-shocked, like he'd been hit by a truck. Get out of my house, I said to Derek. Jake, let's just talk about this, Derek said. We're all adults here. Get out of my house. You can't just... I pulled out my phone, started dialing. I'm calling the police. You have 30 seconds to leave before I report you for trespassing. Derek looked at Emily. She nodded. He left, but not before saying, This isn't over. Yes, it is, I said. It's very much over. After he left, Emily turned on me. How could you do this, file for divorce, without even talking to me first? Like you talked to me before you started Derek? That's different. How? How is that different? We could have worked through this. We could have gone to counseling, figured things out. I laughed. Actually laughed. You spent 6 months screwing our neighbor, spent thousands of our dollars on your affair, lied to my face every single day, and you think counseling would fix that? People make mistakes, Jake. Mistakes? A mistake is forgetting to buy milk. A mistake is being late for dinner. An affair is a choice. You chose him over me. Every single time. She sank onto the couch, crying harder now. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. It was stupid and selfish, and I regret it so much. You regret getting caught, there's a difference. That's not true. When were you going to tell me? Next month? Next year? Never? She didn't answer. Couldn't answer. Because we both knew she never would have told me. She would have kept the affair going until she got bored, or he did, then come back to our marriage like nothing happened. I want you out of this house by the end of the week, I said. This is my house too. Not for long. Read the paperwork. I'm fighting for primary ownership based on your misuse of marital funds. I'll buy you out or we'll sell and split the proceeds. But either way, you're leaving. You bastard. Maybe. But I'm an honest bastard, which is more than I can say for you. She grabbed her purse and keys. I'm calling my lawyer. You're not going to get away with this. I already have. After she left, I poured myself a drink and sat in the quiet house. It should have felt like victory. Instead, it just felt empty. But I wasn't done yet. Not by a long shot. Derek's client list was publicly available on his website. I'd photographed it from his office window. Now I put it to use. I started with Cascade Hops Brewery, called their main office, asked to speak to the marketing director. Hi, my name is Michael Thompson, I said, using my fake Facebook name. I'm calling about Derek Hutchins, your brand designer. I wanted to let you know he's going through some public scandal right now. Affair with a married woman, messy divorce situation. It's all over social media in the Portland area. I thought you'd want to know before it affects your business reputation. I'm sorry. Who are you? The marketing director asked. Just a concerned citizen. I saw your brewery's name on his portfolio. You seem like a quality establishment. Just thought you should know what kind of person is representing your brand. I hung up before they could ask more questions. Then I called Riverside Bistro. Same script, different person. Then the Pearl Kitchen. Then the Morrison Hotel. 3 calls Tuesday, 4 calls Wednesday. By Thursday, 2 of his clients had dropped him publicly, posting on their social media that they were parting ways with their previous designer and looking for new talent. The comments on those posts were telling. People asking why the change. People speculating. Someone linking back to my Facebook post, suggesting it might be related. Derek's professional reputation, carefully built over 5 years, crumbled in less than a week. Thursday. Afternoon. I got a call from an unknown number. I answered. Is this Jake Morrison? A woman's voice. Who's asking? My name is Patricia Brennan. I'm Emily Morrison's attorney. I need to discuss some matters regarding your divorce filing. Talk to my lawyer, James Patterson, at Patterson and Associates. Mr. Morrison, I'm calling as a courtesy to inform you that my client intends to file a restraining order against you for harassment. Harassment? I haven't contacted her once since filing. You've been systematically destroying her boyfriend's career, calling his clients, spreading rumors online, creating a hostile environment. That constitutes harassment. I've been exercising my First Amendment right to share factual information with concerned parties. Derek Hutchins is having an affair with a married woman. That's a fact. His clients have a right to know who they're working with. Mr. Morrison, and for the record, I have extensive documentation proving the affair. Photos, financial records, GPS data. If Emily or Derek want to sue me for defamation, I welcome it. Discovery will be fascinating. Patricia was quiet for a moment. You're playing a dangerous game. No, I'm playing a smart game. Tell Emily to read her divorce papers more carefully, especially the part about the 60-40 split. I hung up. Friday morning, Derek showed up at my door again. He looked rough, unshaven, bags under his eyes, wearing wrinkled clothes, like he hadn't slept in days. Can we talk? He asked. No. Jake, please. I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. But what you're doing... What I'm doing? I stepped outside, closing the door behind me. What I'm doing is making sure everyone knows exactly who you are. A cheater, a liar, someone who betrayed his wife, his neighbor, his own reputation. I'm losing everything, he said, his voice cracked. Rachel left me. My clients are dropping me. I might lose the house. My whole life is falling apart. Good. You're destroying my life. No, I said, stepping closer. You destroyed your life. You made the choice to sleep with my wife. You made the choice to lie to Rachel. You made the choice to risk everything for an affair. I'm just making sure everyone sees the rubble. This is insane. You're insane. Maybe, but I'm honest. Can you say the same? He swung at me. Clumsy, desperate, telegraphed. I saw it coming from a mile away and stepped back. His fist sailed past my face. He stumbled forward, off balance, and fell against my porch railing. Hit me, I said calmly. Please, give me another reason to call the cops. Give me assault charges to add to your perfect life story. He pushed himself up, breathing hard. His hands were shaking. You're a monster. No, I'm what you made me. He left. I went inside and called the police to report the attempted assault. They came, took a statement, took photos of the scuff marks on my porch where Derek had stumbled, said they'd follow up with him. Another mark on Derek's record, another consequence. I felt nothing. No guilt, no satisfaction, just the cold knowledge that I was winning. Emily's lawyer reached out the following Monday. They wanted to negotiate. James and I met with them Tuesday afternoon in a conference room downtown. 20 stories up, glass walls, view of the city. Emily sat across from me, looking smaller somehow, diminished. The confident real estate agent who could charm anyone into buying a house had been replaced by this hollow version, dark circles under her eyes, hands clasped tight in her lap. Her lawyer, Patricia Brennan, was everything I expected. Expensive suit, sharp eyes, leather briefcase. She laid out their position like she was negotiating a business deal, not the end of a marriage. My client is willing to accept a dissolution of marriage. However, we dispute the proposed asset division. Mrs. Morrison is entitled to 50% of all marital property. James didn't miss a beat. Given the evidence of infidelity and misuse of marital funds, my client is entitled to 60-40 minimum, possibly more. This is a no-fault state. True, but judges consider behavior when dividing assets. Your client spent $5,000 of marital funds on an extramarital affair. Hotels, dinners, gifts. She'll need to account for that. She'll need to pay it back. Patricia's jaw tightened. We dispute those allegations. James slid a folder across the table. Bank statements, credit card records, GPS tracking data, photos, text messages, all time-stamped, all documented. Your client had an affair with Derek Hutchins for a minimum of 6 months. She spent marital funds to facilitate that affair. Those are facts, not allegations. Patricia opened the folder, flipped through the pages. Her expression didn't change, but I saw her shoulders tighten. We'll need time to review this, she said. Take all the time you need. But understand that my client is prepared to take this to trial if necessary. And trials are public record. Every detail of Mrs. Morrison's affair will become part of the court transcript. Every hotel visit, every lie, every dollar spent. Is that really how your client wants to proceed? Emily spoke for the first time. Jake, please, can we just talk? Just us? I looked at James. He nodded. Emily and I stepped into an empty conference room down the hall. She closed the door. I'm sorry, she said immediately, for all of it. I know that doesn't fix anything, but I am. Why? I asked. Why Derek? Why throw away 7 years? She sat down, pulling her knees up like she was trying to make herself smaller. I don't know. He paid attention to me. He made me feel exciting again. We'd gotten so routine, you and me. Same dinner every Tuesday, same shows every weekend. I felt like I was disappearing into this mundane life, and nobody noticed. So instead of talking to me about it, You slept with your neighbor. She flinched at the vulgarity. I know. I'm not trying to justify it. There is no justification. I was selfish and stupid and cruel. Yes, you were. What you've done, though, the Facebook post, calling Derek's clients, you've ruined both our lives. Good. She looked up at me, eyes red from crying. You used to be kind, Jake. What happened to you? You happened to me. You and Derek happened to me. You took my kindness, and you used it as permission to betray me. So, I stopped being kind. Is this really who you want to be? Someone who destroys people? I thought about that. Thought about the man I'd been 3 weeks ago. Trusting, optimistic, maybe a little naive. That man was gone. In his place was someone harder. Someone who understood that the world doesn't reward kindness. It rewards strength. Yes, I said finally. This is exactly who I want to be. Someone who doesn't let people walk all over him. Someone who makes sure actions have consequences. I'm moving to Seattle, she said quietly. Fresh start. Away from all this. Good luck with that. Jake. She stood up, moved closer. Do you hate me? I looked at her. Really looked at her. The woman I'd married, the woman I'd loved, the woman who destroyed everything. No, I said finally. I don't hate you. I don't feel anything for you. That's worse, isn't it? She nodded slowly, tears running down her face. Yeah, it is. We went back to the conference room, spent another hour negotiating. In the end, we settled on 60-40 split. Emily would buy me out of the house. She wanted to sell it and move anyway. All remaining finances would be divided accordingly. The settlement included a clause requiring Emily to pay back the $5,000 she'd spent on the affair. James drew up the paperwork. We all signed. Just like that, 7 years of marriage reduced to legal documents and division of assets. As we left the building, Emily turned to me one last time. For what it's worth, I hope you find someone better, someone who deserves you. I will, I said. But first, I need to deserve myself. She walked away toward her car. I watched her go. No tears, no regret. Just the cold satisfaction of knowing I'd taken back my power. The divorce moved through the system over the next 8 weeks. Emily moved out of the house the week after our settlement meeting. Hired movers packed up her things, left her key on the kitchen counter with a note that said simply, I'm sorry. I threw the note away. Derek lost his house in his divorce settlement. Rachel got it, plus spousal support. Between losing his clients and the divorce, he was financially ruined. Last I heard from the neighborhood gossip, he was living with his brother in Seattle, working at a coffee shop while trying to rebuild his design portfolio. Rachel stayed in the neighborhood. She held her head high, kept teaching kindergarten, joined a support group for people recovering from infidelity. I saw her at the mailbox one afternoon about 6 weeks after everything exploded. Jake, she said. Can we talk? We walked to the small park at the end of the street, sat on a bench overlooking the playground where neighborhood kids were playing. I wanted to thank you, Rachel said, for telling me the truth, even though the way you did it was unconventional. I wasn't trying to hurt you. I was trying to hurt them. I know, but I still deserve to know. I'd been living a lie for months, maybe longer. Every time I kissed him goodbye in the morning, he was probably thinking about her. Every time he said he loved me, it was a lie. Yeah, I know the feeling. Do you regret it? The way you exposed them? I thought about that. No, they deserved to be exposed. What I regret is that it took me so long to see what was happening. I saw some of the signs, Rachel admitted. He was distant, on his phone all the time, but I trusted him. I thought we were happy. Same. We sat in silence for a while, watching the kids play. Two people who'd been betrayed, trying to figure out how to be whole again. What now? Rachel asked. What do you do after something like this? I don't know. Keep living, I guess. Try to be better. Better than them? Or better than who we were before? Both. She smiled sadly. Yeah, both. The house sold 3 weeks later. I used my portion of the proceeds to pay off all my debts and put a down payment on a condo downtown. 15th floor, floor-to-ceiling windows, view of the river and the bridges. Smaller space than the house, but cleaner. No memories haunting every room. I hired a decorator to help me furnish it. Wanted everything new. New couch, new bed, new dishes. Nothing from my old life. The decorator, a woman in her 40s named Sarah, asked why I wanted to replace everything. Fresh start, I told her. Divorce? How'd you guess? I've done a lot of these consultations. People starting over. They always want everything new. She looked around the empty condo. What's your style? Modern? Traditional? Eclectic? I don't know. Something that doesn't remind me of who I used to be. She studied me for a moment. That's a lot of weight to put on furniture. Maybe, but I have to start somewhere. She designed a space that was clean and minimal. Lots of whites and grays, some plants, good lighting. It looked like a hotel room, which was perfect. Impersonal, transitional. A place to exist while I figured out who I was now. I kept in touch with James. We got drinks occasionally at a bar near his office. He told me stories about his other clients, their messy divorces, their complicated revenge schemes. You did it right, he said one evening over whiskey. Most guys in your position go crazy. Do something that lands them in jail or broke or worse. You stayed controlled. Made them face consequences without destroying yourself in the process. Doesn't feel right, I admitted. Feels empty. That's normal. You burn down your old life. Now, you have to build a new one. That's the hard part. Revenge is easy. Recovery is hard. He was right. The revenge had been straightforward. Document, expose, divide assets, walk away. Building something new, learning to trust again, becoming someone who could be happy without Emily. That was the real work. I started therapy. Found a guy named Dr. Richard Chen, who specialized in betrayal trauma. Sat on his leather couch once a week and talked about everything. You're angry, he said during our third session. Of course I'm angry. But you're not expressing it. You're intellectualizing it, turning it into strategy and action items. That's how you avoid feeling it. I felt it plenty. That's why I did what I did. What you did was take control. That's different from processing emotion. You need to actually feel the anger, the hurt, the grief. Sit with it. Let it exist without trying to weaponize it. I didn't like that. Didn't like the idea of just sitting with pain when I could be doing something about it. But I tried. And it was harder than anything I'd done during the divorce. Harder than gathering evidence, harder than making those phone calls, harder than sitting across from Emily and dividing our lives into spreadsheets. Feeling things without acting on them felt like drowning. But slowly, over weeks and months, it got easier. 3 months after the divorce finalized, I got a text from an unknown number. This is Rachel. I know this is weird, but would you want to get coffee sometime? Not a date. Just two people who survived the same disaster comparing notes. I stared at the message for a long time. Part of me wanted to say no, to keep distance from anything connected to that time in my life. But another part, the part that was tired of being alone, said yes. I typed back, sure. Thursday work for you? We met at a cafe in Selwood, a neighborhood across the river from where we'd both lived. Neutral territory. She was already there when I arrived, sitting at a corner table with 2 coffees. "I ordered you a black coffee," she said. "Hope that's okay. I remember you always drink it black at neighborhood things." "That's perfect. Thanks." We talked for 2 hours. She told me about her journey toward forgiveness, not of Derek, but of herself for missing the signs, for trusting when she shouldn't have. "I keep replaying everything in my head," she said, "looking for the moment I should have known. There had to be signs I missed." "There were signs," I said, "for both of us. But we weren't looking for them. Why would we? We trusted them. That's what hurts most. Not the betrayal itself, but the fact that I was so stupid. You weren't stupid, you were trusting. There's a difference." She stirred her coffee absently. "Sometimes I wonder if I'll ever trust anyone again. How do you let someone in after something like this?" "I don't know. I'm still figuring that out." It wasn't romantic, wasn't heading that direction, but it was honest. 2 people who'd been betrayed, figuring out how to be human again. As we left, she said something that stuck with me. "You know what the worst part is? They probably don't even think about us anymore. Emily and Derek. They've moved on, started over, convinced themselves they were the victims of our reactions rather than the architects of their own destruction." "Maybe," I said. "But we know the truth. That has to count for something." "Does it?" "Yeah," I said. "It does." I drove home that evening through Portland traffic, past the old neighborhood where everything had fallen apart. The sun was setting over the river, painting everything gold and orange, beautiful and indifferent, like the city didn't care about any of our small human dramas. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Years of unknown numbers had taught me they were usually spam, but something made me pick up. "Jake Morrison?" The voice was male, professional, unfamiliar. "Who's this?" "My name is Thomas Brennan. I'm a literary agent here in Portland. I've been following your story online. The Facebook post, the divorce, the aftermath. I think there's a book in this, a real book, something that could help other people going through similar situations." I pulled over into a grocery store parking lot. "You want me to write a book about my divorce?" "Not just the divorce, the whole thing. The discovery, the strategy, the aftermath, the emotional journey. I think it could really resonate with people. There are thousands of people going through betrayal right now, feeling helpless, feeling like victims. Your story shows another way. Controlled, strategic, effective." "You want me to write a how-to guide for revenge?" He laughed. "Not exactly. More like a narrative memoir that happens to show how someone took back their power. We'd work with a ghostwriter, of course. You'd do interviews, share your documentation, and they'd craft it into something compelling." I thought about Emily reading that book someday, Derek seeing it on a shelf somewhere, in an airport bookstore or a Barnes & Noble, their betrayal immortalized in print, their actions examined and dissected for entertainment and education. "I'll think about it," I said. "Take your time. But Jake, what you did, staying controlled, using the system, making them face consequences without destroying yourself, that takes real strength. Most people can't do that. They break. You didn't break. That's a story worth telling." After I hung up, I sat in my car watching the sunset. The dark thing in my chest that had grown during those weeks of discovery and planning had quieted significantly. Not gone. It would never be completely gone. But manageable now. Integrated. I'd gotten my revenge. Destroyed their reputations, their relationships, their comfortable lies. They'd faced consequences proportional to their betrayal. And I'd survived. More than survived. I'd started rebuilding. Maybe that was the real revenge. Not the destruction of them, but the reconstruction of me. I started the car and drove toward my downtown condo. Tomorrow, I'd call Thomas back and discuss the book idea. Maybe helping other people navigate betrayal would give all this pain some purpose. But tonight, I'd order Thai food from the place down the street, watch something mindless on TV, and exist comfortably in my own space. My space, not ours, mine. The wedding ring I'd worn for 7 years sat in a drawer somewhere in the condo, wrapped in tissue paper. I'd stopped feeling for it on my finger weeks ago, stopped noticing its absence. That's how you know you've truly moved on, when the ghost stops haunting you, when the missing piece stops feeling like an open wound. 4 months after the divorce finalized, I ran into Emily at a coffee shop downtown. I was meeting a friend from work, Brad, another accountant who'd become my drinking buddy during the divorce. Emily was there with a woman I didn't recognize, both of them dressed professionally, probably a real estate thing. Our eyes met across the cafe. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then she said something to her companion and walked over to my table. "Jake," she said. "Hi." "Emily, can we talk? Just for a minute?" I looked at Brad. He nodded, grabbed his coffee, and moved to a table across the room. Emily sat down across from me. She looked different. Shorter hair, different style, more makeup than she used to wear, like she was trying to be someone else. "How are you?" she asked. "Fine. You?" "Good. Busy. I'm actually doing really well in Seattle, closed 3 houses last month." "That's great." Awkward silence. What do you say to someone who destroyed your life? How do you make small talk with betrayal? "I heard about Derek," she said finally. "That he's struggling. Not my problem." "No, I guess not." She stirred her coffee even though she hadn't added anything to it. Nervous gesture. "Jake, I know you probably don't want to hear this, but I need to say it. What happened between us, the affair, the divorce, everything, I own that. I made terrible choices, and I hurt you. But what you did afterward, the way you exposed us, called his clients, destroyed his career, that was cruel." I looked at her, really looked at her. The woman I'd loved, the woman I'd built a life with, the woman who'd thrown it all away. "You want to know what's cruel, Emily? Cruel is lying to someone's face every day for 6 months. Cruel is spending your shared money on hotels for your affair. Cruel is making someone believe they're crazy for being suspicious. What I did, that was justice. Justice or revenge? What's the difference? One is about balance, the other is about punishment. Then it was both. You earned both." She looked away, tears forming in her eyes. "I've been in therapy, trying to understand why I did what I did, trying to be better." "Good for you." "My therapist says we were both responsible for the marriage falling apart, that it wasn't all my fault." I laughed. Actually laughed. "Your therapist is wrong, or you're lying to your therapist. I didn't make you cheat. I didn't make you lie. I didn't make you spend 6 months betraying everything we'd built. You did that, all on your own. We had problems, Jake. We'd grown apart. Then you should have talked to me, gone to counseling, filed for divorce. You had options. You chose the worst one. I know I did. But does that mean I deserve to have my life destroyed? Your life isn't destroyed. You're in Seattle, selling houses, dating whoever you want. Derek's life isn't destroyed either. He's working, rebuilding. You both survived. You just survived with consequences." She wiped her eyes. "Do you ever think about us? About the good times?" "No." "Not at all?" "Not at all. Those good times were built on lies. They don't mean anything anymore." She stood up. "I really did love you, Jake. Maybe not enough, maybe not the right way, but I did. I don't believe you. And even if it's true, it doesn't matter. Love without loyalty is worthless. She walked away. I watched her leave the cafe, get into her car, drive away. Brad came back to the table. "You okay?" he asked. "Yeah, I'm good." And I was. Seeing her didn't hurt anymore. It didn't make me angry. It just made me grateful I wasn't living that lie anymore. I met with Thomas Brennan the following week at his office in the Pearl District. He was younger than I'd expected. Maybe 40, wearing jeans and a button-down shirt, looking more like a tech startup guy than a literary agent. "Thanks for coming in," he said, shaking my hand. "I've been thinking about your story nonstop since we talked. Before we go any further, I need to know something. Why this story? There are thousands of divorce stories out there. Because yours is different. Most people who get cheated on either fall apart or do something stupid that makes things worse. You stayed strategic. You used the tools available to you. Legal system, social consequences, professional networks. You won. And you came out the other side intact. I don't feel intact. But you are. You're here. You're functioning. You're moving forward. That's more than most people can say." We talked for 2 hours. He explained the process. I'd work with a ghostwriter doing extensive interviews. They'd craft it into a narrative, something readable, but authentic. We'd change names, alter some details to protect privacy, but the core story would remain true. "What's the message?" I asked. "What do you want readers to take away?" That they have power. That betrayal doesn't have to destroy them. That there's a way to hold people accountable without becoming the villain yourself. But I did become the villain. To Emily, to Derek, probably to a lot of people who know the story. "Maybe, but you're not in jail. You're not broke. You're not broken. You took control of a situation where you had no control, and you came out ahead. That's the story." I thought about it. Thought about whether I wanted my worst moment put on display for strangers to read and judge. But maybe Thomas was right. Maybe helping other people navigate betrayal would give all this pain some purpose. Maybe my story could be a roadmap for someone else sitting in their kitchen at 3 a.m, looking at their spouse's phone, feeling their world collapse. "Okay," I said. "Let's do it." We signed a contract. He introduced me to the ghostwriter, a woman named Jennifer who specialized in memoir. We started meeting weekly, doing 4-hour interview sessions where I relived everything. It was harder than I expected. Telling the story to Jennifer meant feeling it all again, the shock, the anger, the planning, the cold satisfaction of watching it all fall apart for them. She asked questions I hadn't asked myself, pushed me to examine my motivations, my choices, my regrets. "Do you regret the Facebook post?" she asked during one session. "No." "The calls to Derek's clients?" "No." "Do you regret any of it?" I thought about that. I regret that it was necessary. I regret that Emily made choices that forced me to become someone I wasn't. But the specific actions? No. They earned every consequence. You sound very certain. I am certain. People need to understand that actions have consequences. You can't just blow up someone's life and expect no repercussions. Jennifer wrote that down. That's good. That's the thesis. Over the next 3 months, she crafted my interviews into a manuscript. I read each chapter as she finished it, making corrections, adding details. It was strange seeing my life on the page, seeing our conversations turned into prose. The book wasn't just about revenge. It was about recovery, about how to rebuild after betrayal, about finding strength in the wreckage. Jennifer finished the manuscript in June. Thomas started shopping it to publishers. Within 2 weeks, we had 3 offers. We went with the biggest one, a major publisher, 6-figure advance, national distribution. The book would come out the following spring. They wanted to call it The Split: How I Took Back My Life After Betrayal. I liked that. It was honest, direct, true,